good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Bread for Soul Convos with myself, Sir LSG. And this is a show where I pride myself, not only myself, but me and my team. We pride ourselves in bringing in guests, within the music industry, within different aspects of the music industry, to really share knowledge and experiences with other people. So, navigating the music industry doesn't have to be, an unknown secret, as some have made it to be in the past, So the information should really be available for everybody, and accessible, and like easily, because some information, people would say, like, you can find anything on the internet, you can learn about anything, but you cannot beat the knowledge you will get from experience. And today I've got such a person who is highly experienced in the field of hiring out sound and AV gear for different gigs. I mean, sound is really one of the most, if not the most important things when it comes to our parties, our gigs. If the sound is bad, no matter what lineup you have, there's no party. Party's not happening, So today I'm happy to be welcoming a friend of mine and somebody I've been working with for a number of years now, Mr. Martin Smith. How are you, Martin?
I'm fine, man. Good morning, Sefo, and good morning to everybody that's viewing. I was going to say listening, persons are used to radio stations.
Yeah.
Can I just ask that you put our profiles at the top so that I look towards the camera because I find myself looking down all the time, looking at your picture.
Sorry, what do you mean by
So,
our profiles?
our two screens, if you could put it at the top, not on the side, so that it's closer to my camera, so I can view like I'm viewing now. Because when I do that, I'm looking down. Sorry,
I
just
hear what you're saying.
can you put that up?
I don't have control of that. Are you able to move
Okay.
the actual zoom window closer to the camera?
No, you controlling the meeting, so I can't. But anyway, let's carry on. I'll try
Okay.
and,
Okay. Yeah, I know. It's
look
gonna be
straight
like.
on because if I look down, then it's like
Yeah, I hear
um,
you. I hear you. But I'm sure you won't be able to help it, but to look at yourself. Anyway, you've been in the business for the past 24 years, sound business that is, and you've done a lot of events, and I wanna just start first by talking about the COVID-19 issue, because as much as it has affected different, artists, everybody, all performing artists and DJs have been affected, but very few people are actually thinking about sound companies, and there's a lot of sound companies in South Africa, and it's not only you as a leader of the company, but you also employ a lot of people depending on different jobs that you would get. Just at, tell me about the scale of the loss that you have experienced with regards to this period.
okay. It's look. I must thank you for putting me on this platform. But I'm not thanking you for putting me on the spot with the COVID-19. It's like it's a very sore point with me, and it's very it's like it's a touchy subject because there is nothing going on at the moment. I mean, absolutely nothing. Our last gigs was on Saturday, the 14th of March, and big up to Rough Dance there in Soweto. It was a hell of a party, and the 15th Sunday, the 15th, Cyril had his address to the nation, and he banned all gatherings around the more. Come Monday the 16th, we had a conference scheduled to be held at Wits from the Wednesday to the Friday. That was cancelled the Monday morning at like 1 p.m. It was cancelled. Every job was cancelled. We had something like 14 jobs cancelled in one day. I mean, not we postponed, cancelled. And I mean, I have a staff of, well, they mostly part timers and freelancers. I have 8 people that work with and for me, and it has affected all of us. I could manage like March, April. I did some parcels for the guys. May I haven't been able to. June I haven't. I'm trying my best, depending on income, to do something for the guys this month and to see if I can continue that. It's difficult when you don't have any income. And then it's like with everybody else. People say you must save, but you never really get to saving. And
Mm.
there are people that are under the impression that I have millions in the bank. I don't know where they get it from. Because people just see events, a lot of people, and they think you're making a lot of money. Same with the promoters. It's not how it goes. You have break even points, you have costs.
Mm.
Diesel's not a cheap. So sometimes in a month, a person breaks even because, I mean, I work from home and I've got some storage places with friends. I don't have rent, so I've been able to survive. But if I had rent, if I had to be paying 10 to 20 grand a month, I would never have made it. Never.
Mm.
So and within our market, I mean, leading up to this, I've always every month without fail, I saw a brand new Merc Sprinter or something with new speaker images on the side, new guy coming into the industry. Every month I used to see one. And it's sad, and we aren't being directly addressed. We in the same boat as the restaurant business.
Mm.
Who incidentally I saw yesterday had putting up tables and chairs in the middle of Sandton on the streets to draw
Mm.
attention to the restaurant industry. Our industry is planning to light up buildings in red on the 5th of August, I think.
Mm.
So that's an initiative that might or might not. Well, it'll bring awareness, but it's been terrible. And like I said, you're putting me on the spot. You're asking me about this
Yeah.
uh,
I mean,
global pandemic.
yeah, I think it is important, to talk about it. I believe because, um, like I say, sound companies, as much as sound is so important, it seems like people don't really think about the company's existence. Like even at gigs, like when people come to the gigs and the gig is nice, the sound and everything is perfect, you hardly get the recognition, and it happens now as well in a situation like COVID-19 and the lockdown where sound companies are not making money, and nobody's really thinking about, guys, it's not only artists. Is when relief funds are being talked of, especially from the government side, it's usually talking about artists, even though not everybody's covered even within that, but very few people are thinking about sound companies and audio AV companies, let me put it like that. But anyway, sorry, man. I had to start on this note just to get it out
Yeah,
of the way. Cause
unfairly so, because this is a topic and a subject that we can spend a whole session on exclusively,
sure, sure,
on it. And I mean, I'm a very opinionated person, and I have lots of views, and some of them not good for people in power and stuff like that. But I mean, that's a different discussion for a different forum. So,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
No, man.
but
Okay.
you're absolutely right in what you're talking about. As a sound company, we like the news. If it's bad, everybody talks about it. If it's good, nobody talks about it.
Mm,
So it's like some people know me at gigs. Most people don't. Probably in the type of gigs that I do in the areas in which I work in the township, people are probably wondering, "Hey, who's this Mlungu hanging around here?" But
yeah.
I've gotten used to it.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure, sure. I met you a couple of years ago, and I remember when I started working with you, I had this event put together, me and my friend in Mafikeng, and we used to do, well, two of my friends, we used to do this event called House Musication Nights, and you know, the reason I brought you on is because for 2 years I tried two different companies, and this is an event where we spent our own money, booking artists and booking performers, booking DJs, venue, marketing, everything. And we wanted to scale the event in such a way that when somebody comes through the venue, firstly, they not only enjoy the performances and the artists that we booked, but the experience and the sound system, most importantly, is considered to be important, an important part of the event. But the two companies, I mean, I won't bad name people, but like it happened. So the 2 years that we did before working with you, we had the worst experience, and not even, it was at a time where we were able to put out money from our pockets, pay deposits, pay the full fee even before the event happens, and still we got really below par, sound and service from somebody at home, especially, and that was a bit of a sore thing to experience as a promoter. But then we got you the following year, and everything we got you, I think 2 or 3 years after that, before we stopped doing the event, everything went perfect. Is it has it always been a thing for you that you will deliver the quality? Is it something that you learned across the years, or that's just how you are as a person?
Look, when you start off, everybody has to start somewhere. This is what people forget. And I feel for the small guys that are just coming into the industry. Because when I started, I had four speakers that, in retrospect, weren't the best sounding speakers out there at the time, right? I got work and I made it work. The thing is, you have to know the limitations of your equipment. And some people want to play a speaker that can only do maybe six. They want to play it at eight, and they want to play it for extended hours. So there's a bit of education that is lacking with that. In fact, that's one of the things that, as a life goal, I still want to achieve. Doing sound 101 for idiots, so call it something like that, whereby I could impart knowledge and just common sense to people starting out. Although I don't recommend people do this business, I must say, because it's fickle and we depend on our income basically on people that consume alcohol, and not your most reliable of the type of person. But and it's very erratic. Sometimes you can have the numbers but not make money. So it was a gradual process of finding the quality, but it is you as a person where you want to see yourself, what you want to be, how you want to be viewed in the industry that you are in. And it's a matter of, with me, it's a matter of personal pride, and there's nothing like coming into a gig and it well attended, and I mean, you enter the venue and the first, when that bass line drops, it I don't know how to explain it, man. It's something you either can relate to or you can't. Because I can remember one event we did, and this was with Cleo before he became big. Cleo had a farewell. He was on YFM and he was contributing to Fresher's show. And Cleo's another guy. He phones me the Saturday morning and he says, "Listen, I've got a gig here that I want you to do, but I don't have money." I'm like, "Okay, what is the gig?" "No, it's my farewell." I'm like, "Where are you going to?" "The States." "How long are you going for?" "A week." I'm like, "And you're having a farewell?" And he did it.
Yeah.
We went and did that gig, right, at his mother's house in Springs. I think I can't remember the suburb. But, we went, we set up. I had another thing to do. I went back there the night. I was driving up, man, in that road. They were playing that track, Daft Punk, One More Time. Then it has that break. When the bass hit, that was a moment that as you can hear, I still remember it, and that was in 2001, 2. But it was, when that bass hit, it was like the cast audio in front of me, right? It sounded like that, and I was like quite a distance from the house. For me, that, the immense pride in the vibe you got, man, it was like,
Yeah.
that was a moment I will not forget. And it was my equipment.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
That was for me. It was, so it's that thing. It's got to move you, man. If you can, it. This is something that's gone through the ages. If you find something you love, you will not work for a day in your life after that. It's just that simple. Don't do it for selfish reasons. Like some people go into some occupations because they have nothing else to do. I understand that, but look for your passion. Look for your passion. If you find your passion, you'll never work a day in your life.
True.
For me, it's highly personal.
Yeah,
It's highly
and
personal.
I do want to talk to you about like where that passion started. But before we do, I've got a question to people who are watching today's show, and the question of the day, you can answer in the comment section. We'll put them up towards the end of the show, and the question is, which event do you remember having the best sound system ever? And I'm asking this to people who are watching, whether you're watching on your mobile or you're watching on the laptop, wherever you may be. Which event do you remember having the best sound system ever? We will play, put up your answers towards the end of the show. And just getting back to your passion, Martin, I want to know, like, with regards to the earliest beginnings of audio, or memories that you have of audio gear. Because I assume, or I mean, let me not assume, where did the love really come from for you?
With me, it was accidental, and I've got to look. I've always been a friendly person, and at one stage I knew a lot of people. I'm originally from Kliptown, moved to El Rado Park, but in El Rado Park I knew a hell of a lot of people. And then a friend of mine was in the taxi industry, and he had an event in the year 1992. Because the taxi industry used to raise funds, and one of their members had like a nightclub in El Rado Park in the industrial area. So we ran an event there the first year, and he asked me to come and take photos because that's my other passion, photography. Not professionally. That's why I have millions of photos, which you found out.
Yeah.
But and then he had that event. I went and took photos. He had back in the day, it was the Miss, whatever the title was, Miss Taxi, Miss the Street, Miss Tree, Miss Branch, whatever. So, and then I took photos. Then the next year, his partner that he had wasn't able to continue to do so, and he invited me to join him. And then I thought about it. I'm like, okay. So the way I see it, the most difficult part is getting contestants. So he said he had it sorted out. So I said, okay, no, fine, because I know a lot of people, etc. So we did that in '93. We did a event called Miss Out of Town.
Aish.
The club's name was Out of Town, right? So
Okay.
it was a club that wasn't like really mainstream. It was competing with a place called Club Status at Fun Valley, which was more upmarket, and you were required to wear shoes back in the day and a collar,
like the club in
back in the
Rosebank.
day.
Yeah.
So then we did that event there. Suffice to say, my marketing at the time was totally different to everybody else. I mean, I picked up the girls and took them to drag races on a Sunday to advertise the event with flyers. So come the final, fast forward, we had like about 1,200 people in a club that could accommodate 300, 400 people. So it was major, but we didn't make money. Right, because obviously we didn't have the economics corrected. So that year, then my partner got a job and he wasn't into it anymore. And I was like at the bug it bit, you understand? It was like, this is exciting, I enjoy it. So I wanted to do an event that nobody else had done in my area before. One that hadn't been done with in the communities that we were in. The event was Miss Wet T-shirt.
I call. Okay.
So I managed to do it, and I did it at this club that was upmarket at Club Status, Fun Valley, the resort. And I had over 1,000 people there. I mean, I got contestants, and it captured the imagination of people. And from there on, the owner made me an offer to come and manage, and I did that from '93. But it was one of those clubs where it was event-driven, and that's why I don't advise venue owners to do too many events. But I suppose the day of the club that people went to for the club, not for the event at the club, are long gone. Now it's event-driven. And then I was working there, left there in '95. And then while I was there the one night, both DJs didn't come to work one night. Big event. And now I'm here and I don't know the next thing what to do. That prompted me to start buying music. So that I started buying music. The first vinyl I bought was Snow, Informer. That was the first vinyl I bought. I remember that as if it was yesterday. There's record shops in Hillbrow that we bought it. Look and Listen was big. Patrick opened the shop there. And then later years, House Africa actually started a shop in Hillbrow before they moved to Orange Grove. So that's how I started. Then when I left Fun Valley, then I had all this music and no place. And then another DJ friend got some events. I started with weddings, China. Weddings. Weddings are not your musically inspiring events, shall I
Yeah,
put it. You
yeah,
come there and it's like a jukebox. You got
yeah.
to play those tracks that people
You
know,
need to have
which is
everything.
so in terms of I started DJing. So I'm an entertaining DJ. I'm not a genre musical DJ. I come and play what people know. You can't break a new track at a wedding.
Yeah, doesn't
Now
work.
you can try, but uh, anybody listening out there that wants to try that, take it from me, it doesn't work. People walk off, you know.
Mm,
And then I moved to Randburg, and then I think it was Christmas of '97 or '98. I met a guy called CJ.
mm,
I met him at Fun Valley doing a Christmas Eve party that somebody was having. And we found out we stay in the same area. It was Windsor West. And then CJ had a sound rig, and he was busy. Now, this guy used to, when he's busy, give people my number because I had like 4 speakers and all that. And I used to be very particular about my stuff and didn't want anybody messing with it, breaking it, spilling on it, and all that.
mm.
I'm anal in that respect. That's why at events, some of the DJs, I take a drinks off the table and put them down. Then the guys give you the eye. I'm like, hey, this is electrical China. You can't have liquids here.
Yeah,
I don't care who you are,
I actually just had
You,
a comment on Facebook from Subs, Soul Trainer. You know him. He works with Chris a lot. Well, he used to work with Chris a
mm,
lot. He says that you once said to him, and he put in quote. He says, "Martin says, Subs, get effing Savannah off the DJ box." And he's like, no, he's got nothing but love for you.
yeah, you see, the thing is, it's not the DJs where when accidents happen. It's
Mm,
always that fan or that friend that has had too much to drink that doesn't walk straight, that bumps the table.
mm,
When they bump the table, the drink spills onto the equipment, which gets damaged. And then if there's one CD player is not playing, then people look at you like it's your fault.
mm, mm,
And I mean, we're not big companies, multinational companies that go to a gig with 6 CD players.
mm, mm.
We go with 2. Okay, well, I've started taking 3. We always have a CDJ 350 in reserve. But it's that. It's sometimes the DJs take it personal, and it's not personal.
Mm.
It's just precautions. Because I've had a drunk guy that was helping us pack drop my CDJ 900 mixer on its first use at the Rock. I wasn't there,
Yeah, yeah,
but I promise you, if I was there, that guy wouldn't have been around today. You know, that's why we don't take help when we're packing up. No help,
yeah. Mm.
because people can make honest mistakes, and then it costs you. So it's just that. And
Yeah.
then I used to do parties at in Norwood in 2000, 2001 at a place called Trescolini. Was big on hip hop. And I mean, the guys that we had parties. Yeah, it was they had like a little upstairs section which was a VIP. I remember one night sitting. Now look, I don't watch a lot of TV, so I don't know who the celebrities are, the actors and all that.
Yeah.
So we were sitting there one day, me and a friend of mine, a DJ friend, and he's looking around and he says, "Hey man, I think we're in the VIP." Like now the VIP is the VIP. It's
Yeah.
like this So I'm
Yeah.
like, what makes you say that? So he looks around, he says, there's Lebo Matosa. I'm like, you're right. And he says, I know that one's in some TV show, that one. I'm like, yeah, no, we must be in the VIP. So, but those were good days because, geez, I can remember the queue that those guys had with the opening night downstairs. Oh man, it was crazy because from there they moved to Wuzoo in 4 ways. They were
Mm,
doing gigs there.
mm.
We I haven't really made a glossary or a events list and stuff like that. So I'm actually babbling and going up and down, and you didn't give me
No, no,
anything to
no,
prepare
no.
with.
It's
So
cool. Let's start with different events that you've made. Like for people who don't know, you've done events. I mean, you sent me a whole list, but if I could name a few, let me say ones that I believe were some of the biggest. Most of them were big, but you did the game show, the games concert in Swaziland, and you did Black Coffee's 60-hour gig at Maponya in Soweto, and I mean that's a monumental event as well. Like it's in the books. If when Black Coffee says I've done 60 hours, you can say I did the sound system for that, And I want to ask you specific. Well, we'll get back to the Black Coffee thing. Actually, you've done the EFF rally into 2018. You've done the VDub Campfest, which they've got a dope setup, very dope. I enjoyed the pictures that you sent to me. Somebody in the comments said they saw you doing sound for Louis Vega at the Delicious Fest. I don't know. I think it was 2 years or
2015. I just couldn't find the photos.
Yeah.
2015. Yes.
Yeah. But
that was.
Yeah. Sorry.
Good memories to be blessed.
Yeah. I want to ask you with regards to, for example, if we start with the Black Coffee 60-hour thing, how do you even plan for an event that's gonna last for that many days?
Okay, that one was. I must say that event is a source of pride, for me. Being involved with it at the time. I know Black Coffee since before his first album. I met him through Christoph. That event, Amaru had contacted me and said, "Look, I'm gonna do it." I know he was launching his foundation then, because we had done a gig before that at one of the universities at the Vaal, but it was during the week because the guy was so busy. So we looked at it, and it's at Maponya Mall, and I originally thought it was going to be a stage, in the parking, and doing it there like a normal outdoor gig. But no, there was a lot of symbolism and iconism, if there is such a word, that was attached to the venue, because it was dead smack in the middle of the entrance, there where that big elephant is, that statue.
Yes.
So it was facing. So my approach there was, okay, there's not going to be a lot of people in front, because the distance was about, from the stage to the entrance, was about 25 meters or something. So most of the people would have been on the side. So I think there is a picture over the line array there. So what I did was, you normally have the stage. If you look at a square from a top view, the sound's normally in front. So I said, no, make the wings at the back. So it was at the back, but not playing straight because people were on the side. And then I just towed it this way so that it plays to the sides. That's where the main system was. The front, I sent you a picture of that. That was an older system that I had done in the 90s, actually, like 2001. It was a system that was doing all the parties from the tops. So 60 hours, I had two crews, we worked shifts. And they ran on 12-hour shifts, each shift, people coming and relieving each other, etc. For me, the Saturday night, which was one of the biggest, it was the one that stopped the traffic in Chris Hani Drive, and is the reason why Black Coffee will never, ever get police permission to do a gig in Soweto. Never. You can ask him that. Never. He'll never get that.
Yeah.
Because I told him also, when you're never coming back here. But the Saturday night, I wasn't there the Saturday night because I wanted to go and sleep so that I could be back for the ending. Do you understand? For the end, the 12 p.m. Event. That event, was blessed because the security wasn't adequate. But I'd never heard one incident. Surely there were, but there was no major this, that, and the other. Security was not there because the mall was supposed to provide security, and this dude, he had like 20 volunteers with Maponya Mall t-shirts. They thought that was security, And I told them in the meeting, and we had a meeting at the news cafe. There were about 20 people in the meeting, and everybody's carrying on. And I'm like, wait. You people are talking here like we're hosting the DJ in your street.
Yeah.
This is not the case here. And it was in 2010. I told them, think World Cup crowds. And the look on people's faces, as I said, there was like, Markanjan, disbelief, like, this one is rambling. The first night, the Thursday night, I was trying to phone that guy that was talking about his security. If he's listening or if somebody knows him, tell him. I still want him to tell me about the security. The guy didn't answer his phone the whole weekend, and no, that was it was blessed. But the thing is, I wanted to do that event. That was one of those events where I'm going to do it. I
Mm,
must just find a way how to do it
mm,
because the money wasn't good. Red Bull paid for it. It wasn't good. It was like the money for one day gig.
mm, mm.
But I wanted to do it. I wanted to be involved. And look, I told Nati Black Coffee after that I was going to print some stickers and put them on my speakers saying Black Coffee 60 hours torture test survivor. I was going to do that, but then okay, things happen and all that. Those same speakers that were playing there, they're still playing today.
Mm.
I still do gigs with them,
Wow. And
and people
I
are
will
in disbelief just on that.
I
But
will ask you
they still work.
about gear, because just a bit later. But another event that you do on a regular is the Gems on Ice. You've been doing their sound for since 2017, and shout out to them because I'm super proud of KG and his team because they've got quite dope events. They've got a super supportive crowd. I've never been to a Gems on Ice event and it's empty.
Oh, Ganjan.
Yeah.
No, we must rectify that. Post COVID, we must rectify that.
No,
You
I'm
know.
saying I've never been to one and it's empty. Each and every
Oh,
event.
okay.
Yeah, no, I've played a couple of them. Yeah, and
Oh, okay.
each and every
Yeah,
one that
right,
I've
right.
attended to, is always super packed. The support is there. Um, but the question that I want to get to is with regards to relationships. And before actually we get onto that question, let me play you a voice note because KG sent me a voice note this morning. Then we'll get on with our conversation.
Yo, LSG, man. This is KG from Gems on Ice. Yeah, my relationship with Martin, Mr. Martin Smith, is we met when I started Gems on Ice in Soweto through a friend called Kinan O, who's also in eventing, and one of his staff members who's Whitey. I was seeking for someone that could really take my brand upwards from a production point of view and quality of sound. Um, and yeah, ever since then we really grew tight, as friends and as business partners to a large extent. But
Yeah. So, with regards to relationships, Martin, like how important is keeping relationships when you are in the audio business? Because I remember as well, before we talk about Gems on Ice, when we did our second event in Mafikeng, and as much as the event was successful in terms of attendance, but our overheads, we realized that we spent way too much money, in artists and venue and everything else, and we lost money. Like it was actually we lost a lot of money that time, and you were compassionate enough with us to say, guys, give me what you can give me. You saw how the event was and you understood how important is just building and keeping and building those relationships with different people.
It's very important, but I must stress that the attitude that you have, it's not strictly just the business partner thing. This is an attitude that I have in life. Once you, it's like I try to do good things. I try to do good things for people, even if people don't do good things for me, because I believe in you must act, not react.
Mm,
And my mantra in life is treat others as you would expect them to treat you.
mm,
That is the Bible and all of Christianity and religion in one sentence. Because if people just, follow that,
mm,
we wouldn't be having problems in the world. But it's important. You have to connect with a person. I mean, I've had clients where you don't connect, where the person is just not a good person, for want of a better term.
mm.
And in this industry, there's a lot of fly by night people. They think they can make money very quickly. There's a lot of crooks out there. There's a lot. There's a lot of crooks out there.
Mm.
And just to put it out there as well, that 2015 event with Louis Vega, the one for DSD Delicious, I never got paid for it.
Wow.
Right. So that's a long story. That can fill an episode on its own. But anyway, it relationships are important in life in general, and then obviously in business, it just you have to be on the same level with the client. If you're not on the same level, cut ties, because you're going to just cause yourself grief. You're going to cause that person grief, and then sometimes it can become unpleasant to the point of it can become physical,
Mm.
because there are those type of people around. But I must say I'm lucky in that a lot of the people that I have dealt with, and this is through networks, right?
Mm.
It's not like a person that picks up a phone, just sees me somewhere else, my phone, and you get those calls, but the ones that are longer lasting are more networks, because birds of a feather flock together, and the
Mm.
community is not that big. Up
Mm.
on a certain level, the community is not that big, and everybody knows everybody.
Mm.
So relationships are important in general, and I mean, I'm not a big company registered, and they have funds from the bank, and I don't have a business plan or a business model.
Mm.
I trust my instincts, and I always think good of people until they prove me otherwise.
Mm.
And that has worked for me. I mean, I also had another person also through in a circle that I did an event for in 2016, didn't pay me a cent.
Mm.
And the person, I still see the person at events these days, and no talk about settling it and all that. And the thing is, sometimes these events, you take money out of your pocket to do it because
Mm.
people don't have a deposit, but you want to help.
Mm.
So one gets wiser as you go on. So, I mean, even last year there was a couple of events where we're still waiting for payment now, and it's July, and these
Mm.
events were held in December.
Mm.
But it's the industry, and it's how you navigate it.
Mm.
But relationships, for going forward, for enjoying working with the person, the events,
Mm.
like KG, there's an event we did with him on the 29th of April 2017 at the Rock. I'll never forget it. It was so different, man. It was at OK Malum Kulke, it was performing that night. But the vibe, hey, man, sometimes it's not about the numbers. Okay, there were numbers in that
Mm.
small area, but the vibe,
Mm.
yo, that was, I honestly think that was the night that, in terms of the trajectory of Gems on Ice, that was a night that sparked. I mean, it sparked in all respects:
Mm.
DJs, the music, the crowd, the performance, the setup. Yo, it was. No, no, that one, I remember it was yesterday. We didn't even sleep that day because the next day we had to set up for Cookout Sunday. Okay, that I didn't put on the list. I've done sound for Cookout Sunday since before they became Elka Stadium. I did two at Elka Stadium,
Mm.
but when they were still in Dobsonville, oh, that was tight there. That
Mm.
was so the venue, man. But okay, they outgrew the venue, but it was but no, no, that it was nice.
Yeah.
So we had to do that the next day, and the same night we did that, we did the birthday party at Liquid Zone in Soshanguve,
Mm.
which another friend of mine handled, Lele from Bronco Straight, Lele
Yes.
Mabena. Big
Yes.
ups, Lele, if you're listening.
Advocate.
Uh,
Yeah.
it was, sometimes with this, there's certain days in the month that get busy and certain days that are not busy, and sometimes you get over subscribed, so to speak.
Mm.
3 events, 4 events, and then there's no sleep and all that. But like I tell the guys, hey, you'll sleep on Monday. I tell my guys, you'll sleep on Monday. But
Yeah.
here we work, and if you do 2 events, because I pay my guys per event,
Mm.
so it's like, we're not sleeping for 24 hours here, but you're going to be paid for 3 events.
Mm. Mm.
You can sleep Monday, you can sleep the whole
You can
week,
sleep the whole
but
week.
not
And
this week, not this weekend. Some belief,
yeah. And
relationships is very important for
yes.
ongoing business, and just for making the workspace and environment pleasant and good, and
Yeah.
it's always better working with somebody that you know than with somebody that you don't.
Yeah, and I do want to ask you though about difficult stuff, difficult moments, like with regards to running a sound company. I mean, you did mention that doing events and not getting paid, like the 2015 Louis Vega event for Delicious Festival, it's uncalled for. Like I mean, like I can't even fathom the fact that how do you not get paid for such a big event? But I guess that's a story for another day. Like that's also relationships. Certain people are the way they are, and it's difficult to follow through. I always had this thing about not getting paid. Like you start um, following up with people. Hey man, when am I getting paid? When am I getting my money? And at some point, you do get to a point where it doesn't. It actually weighs on your shoulders just to keep, following up with people who sometimes they don't even answer your phone calls, but you see them having a nice time. You see them, their lives are going well. Yet you have people to pay. But besides the money issues, what are some of the most difficult things that people might not know with regards to running an audio company?
Staff, the reliability of staff. You have two events that are starting on a Saturday, and you need to start moving at say 9 a.m., 8 a.m. the Saturday morning to have the events set up, because I see the style in the last 10 years is people want to start at 12 p.m. Nobody's going to come at 12 p.m. People want to start. And you can't tell the client time, and don't be foolish, You have to be set up. But nobody's going to come. But he wants it done at that time because he knows by 4 somebody will pop in. Generally, people come at 6 p.m. One notable exception, James on Ice, 2nd of March 2019. People rocked up there. 5 p.m. all seats were taken, and the sun is still shining. So, Casey, if you're listening or if you're going to look, that was another landmark one, I remember.
I remember that one. That was Ralph Gum's album launch as well.
Ralph Gum's album launch was at the end of the month. It was on the 29th.
They did. Oh, you guys did two that
night.
There
was 2 in that month.
Okay,
so it was basically supposed to be end of Feb and end of March is, I think, how we planned it, but it just fell. The weekend just fell, like the 2nd, and I think the 28th or something. Ralph's was the 28th.
Yes.
Now this was the one. This one was. You must see the voters. This one was good. But as getting back to the subject, when the staff don't come at a certain time, and you phone them, and they don't answer their phones, or it rings and nobody. Do you know the anxiety you get? Because it's your reputation on the line. Nobody's going to be sympathetic because a staff member didn't come. You have to manage those things, and having reliable staff is so important. It's that, and then it's vehicle breakdowns, because we can't all afford that shiny Mercedes Sprinter that so many people seem to afford monthly, on a monthly basis. It's like, hey, when I see a Sprinter drive past and it's new and shiny, it's like, that's my kind of Ferrari. People get excited for Ferraris. I get excited when the Sprinter goes past me.
Sure.
Okay, different strokes for different folks. The equipment, reliability of equipment. If you go with 2 CD players only and one starts giving trouble, do you know what sort of hassles you trying to find a CD player, even in Joburg, within half an hour is not that easy. So if you have limited funds and you're starting in the game and all that, nobody has 3 CD players all the time. It's only the last 2-3 years where we've managed to bridge that gap where we send 3 CD players to an event, 2 CDJ 2000s, one's 350. Because if a 2000 goes, anybody and everybody will play on the 350. I don't think anybody will walk off because, especially mid-set equipment, it's tough. Because look, in this business, I am nothing without my staff. I am nothing without my staff. And for us, in terms of importance on the job, and I've told this to my guys, in your list of priorities, your family comes first. You come second. And my equipment comes third. Everything else falls below that. So for me, it's staff first, it's family first, staff, equipment, and then I come. That's my priorities in my life. So reliable staff is reliable, but look, the staff I have, nobody was a wizard when they came, and I pride myself in what they've learned with me, through me, and by me. And I'm very patient. Nobody's born with an IQ of Sheldon Cooper, and I'm patient, and the guys learn. Because at the end of the day, when a person is skilled and does the job, nobody comes and asks you how long did it take you to get there.
Mm. Mm.
Same as you find a lawyer, he's a lawyer, he's practicing. Nobody's asked, did it take 10 or 15 years to become a lawyer?
Mm.
It's about reaching the goal, not the time it takes to reach the goal,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't give you any horror stories, did I?
No, you
And you were
didn't.
looking for you were looking for horror stories.
No, I was kind of, cause like I do wanna
I
ask you
had,
though, like,
I had lots of horror stories. I
yeah,
had
yeah,
lots.
I wanna know one thing. If you could just tell me one thing that has went terribly wrong for you when you were supplying sound system, whether especially at the beginning, because in the beginning stages you start learning. Obviously now you know your list off by heart, what you need to pack, what you need to prepare for before you go to a gig. But especially in the beginning, what has went horribly wrong for you?
Okay, you're thinking about disasters. Let me give you one. And it wasn't like horribly wrong. It's like we were doing a gig for Bunny in Acacia, Wonder Park, their shopping center.
Yes.
At the time, we just knew it was on the way to Garankua,
Yes.
when you get this. And so, hey, you know the guy that used to work for me, Kaya.
Yeah.
So him and Kenny, they load up and they rush through and everything. I had another party for Terry Motal.
Mm.
And it was there, Montana, in the north of Pretoria. So I had to go set up there for him because Terry does parties. He's an advocate, but he does parties. Terry
Yeah.
does parties.
Yeah.
Does he do parties? So they phoned me. You know what they forgot that night? They forgot the amp rack. How do you go to an event without amplifiers for the system? Manje, I'm in Joburg. They are in Wonder Park in Acacia, near going to Garankua.
Yes.
I'm going to Montana on near Roodeplaat
Yes, the
on the N1.
Yes.
And they're there with us. Okay, so I load the stuff, I go. And I had to learn new roads. Manje, this was before Google Maps. No? I must stress, it was before Google Maps because now everything is cool with Google Maps.
Yeah.
And incidentally, I'm a fan of Google Maps. I
Yeah.
can't live without it. And then I had to go set up there for Terry, and then I had to take the MPREX through. We get there to the venue with the MPREX after friends gave me directions, and I made it.
Yeah.
The the guy that was connecting the electricity there at this restaurant, something went wrong, and the CD players weren't coming on. We only had 2 CD players. It was CDJ 200s.
Mm.
So we opened them and we checked. It was the fuses. The fuses had popped. Lucky. So now we don't have spare fuses. Now you know that old trick of you take a piece of electrical wire and you just join it,
Mm.
and it plays. So there's no fuse basically. I only changed fuses in those same CD players about 5 or 7 years after that night, I must tell you. We've been playing them like that. So they forgot the amp rack, and we had an electrical problem that blew the CD players.
Yeah.
But we came through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, stressful. People are already filling up the place, and Vinny is there looking at you with those eyes of his,
Yeah.
And but look, we made it. But that is the kind of that was stressful. But that on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most stressful, what I've just told you is like a 4, man. It's like 4. It's not even up there with the biggest one. It's not up there with the biggest one.
Yeah. But I mean, like, I guess things like these do happen. Like they do happen. But some, to an extent, some I feel like, okay, this could be managed better. Like in my case, when I did my event in Mafikeng, and this guy, and he was locally based, and we had a whole plan that he's gonna come through 12 p.m. Do the setup. By 4 p.m. everything should be done. The stage, everything. We were at the venue since 9 in the morning, just finishing up the setup. the sound guys came through at like 5:30 in the evening,
What?
and they forgot uh, stuff that the scaffolding that will hold the speakers. So they had to drive back, get scaffolding. That took like another 2 hours for that to happen. And my first DJ, I think, started playing at like 9 p.m. The gig was starting at 6. We making people pay. There's no sound system. So yeah, the stress of it was like, but I guess you learn as you go, like you learn who to work with as you go. Sometimes those mistakes are necessary so that people are aware that they should never do the mistakes again. But I want to ask
Look,
you, sorry, you were saying?
sorry, just on that, like the person that did that, like when we go and work out of town and we working there, I try and I'd like to help. I'm a helpful type of person, and there could have been a number of reasons why the guy was late. Right, one of the most important is transport. Because sometimes the guys don't have transport in the townships. They're also just trying to make do, etc. But the important thing here is it doesn't sound like he communicated with you.
No.
Weren't you
Actually,
aware
for
of
me,
what was
for me,
going
it,
on?
it wasn't even like a mistake thing because he's an established sound company guy, in Mafikeng. He's well established. So it's not somebody who's starting out. It's not somebody who's got issues with trucks. He's got loads of those, He's got everything. That's why I went for him because he's a professional. I've seen him doing sound for a lot of people and I entrusted him with that. But I think it was a lack of respect to a certain extent because even after the event, I was trying to do just not necessarily recon because we already paid the balance with him, and just to get a view from him to say a report at least, to say guys, I'm sorry this happened. We didn't get a single apology for that, and I never worked with him ever since. And I think those things do happen. Like I say, I don't keep grudges or anything, but at that time, it was really painful to experience. I do want to
No,
ask
no,
you,
I can imagine. I
yes,
can imagine.
something about
You've,
your.
you've touched you touched on a word there, and that one you've touched on respect. It is so important because you have to respect your client. You know, you can't judge a person's event. You have to respect the event
Mm,
and give him what he pays for, right?
mm,
Although me, I don't give you what you pay for. I give you what I think you should have. Money is the setup and the quality of the event from my services for me is more important than money.
mm,
You
mm,
know,
mm,
so that respect of, like, okay, we no, nobody's a faultless human being,
mm,
and we also late at times, and there's reasons for this, that, but respect the client and communicate.
mm,
Me, you'll always know where I am.
mm.
Me, I even send locations of where we are on the road and Google Maps for going.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it is so simple. You just say location and you send it to the person. He
Mm,
knows you're on your way. He can see what road you're on. Simple. If a person can't do that, then the person is not forthright, is not honest,
mm, mm,
is respect, communication, quality, delivery,
mm,
over under promising and over delivering.
mm,
Those
mm.
are things that are very important because we've had a lot of times we've over delivered.
Yeah,
The only problem is
I
now.
remember one. Sorry to cut you off. One moment where you really completely over delivered. We were doing a gig at it was a Soul Candy, Solistic Music and House Africa gig at Truth in Midrand. Raise the roof, and
Oh, raise the roof,
you were
yes.
you were in charge of the bottom floor for the House Africa thing, and that
Yeah.
space is not big, but you had like 16 bass bins in the small space. I was like, oh my! But that's one of my most favorite experiences in terms of playing on a big sound system because it's in a club, but like you didn't even have to push much. But yeah, no, you over
No, no, no,
delivered.
that was tight.
Yeah.
And we just, when we went there, it was left and right, normal. And we're standing there and we're looking, and I'm like, okay, I have some clear speakers. Let's try something. Let's do a surround, four stacks. And I remember the outside stack that was playing in. We powered the tops with a Crown Macrotech HD 5000. That's where also in the field you hear the difference between what that amp did to the Crown VZ 3600 that we're powering the 4 and the main system. So you pick up on that, but no, it was nice.
No,
It
that
was
was very nice. That was sounding super nice.
it was nice.
I have to ask you though, because you've done in 2018, like I mentioned before, the EFF rally, and are you inclined to the EFF politically?
You saw I sent you a photo there, which I was hoping you put up with the EFF T-shirt.
I will do that.
Right?
I'm putting it up right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Look, the thing is, I have strong views on politics. I have strong views on politicians, etc. But work is work. I actually did this for a friend, another company. I did it for Modanso because he was busy. I think I don't know, he was very busy at the time. So I didn't really want to give such pictures and event because I tried not to give you events where I wasn't directly involved, like not my client. And the events that I've told you about, this is direct clients, right? That was me directly, not supporting somebody else, because the events where we're supporting somebody else are probably double or triple the amount I gave you, in terms of big events. But this one, I mean, this morning at 1 a.m. as I was going through the pictures and on my phone, and I'm like, nah, I gotta show this. I gotta show this. It was, for me, it was, once again, I was the only Mlungu in the room, and you could see there, it was like 15,000 people there. And that was a good event. It was like the speech had to be right. We charged for the main system, but when we did the stage as well there. Then there was the sides and at the back. So you can't see in the photos, but we had on the sides as well, line array angling up. So we actually managed to achieve a 270-degree coverage at that event. Not 360, because behind I thought it was a bit unnecessary they would hear. But that I believe in a lot of the principles of the EFF. I believe in a lot of the principles. How to attain them is perhaps with the EFF at the moment, maybe they're not going about it the right way. And then some of the associations they have with other groups might not be where I'm leaning towards, it's a big subject, which, I'm trying to speak and say things like a politician would, which is difficult for me because I normally just say what I feel and think. But the forum we're in does not allow me to do that. Me and you can discuss this when we're sitting alone, without an audience. But I do believe in a lot of the principles that the EFF stands for. I honestly do believe in those principles, because we can't continue like this in this country. And this pandemic has highlighted how can I put it? The greed, the stealing, it's sad. And then there's people like me, with my 8 guys that I work with, who have families who are suffering. But people can go and buy sports cars with money they received for contracts which they haven't even delivered at inflated prices. But let's leave it there, because
I think
let's
leave
topic for another day.
It is a very long one, I know. But just before we close, I always go to your place, whether I'm hiring equipment or I'm borrowing CD players, and you've got a lot of. Firstly, you've got dogs, but you've got a lot of cats too. Tell me about your love for cats.
Look, cats is my wife, actually. She likes cats. We have 4 cats, and the dogs, we've always wanted to get dogs, but dogs, the mess on the grass is another story. Now I got to go pick up bombs, But when we saw the pictures of these 2 dogs, which we got from my wife's sister, they just they've been very fulfilling in terms of company and in terms of security as well, because the dog, you have to be secure, because in this day and age, private security is probably on a turnover getting more than maybe your budget for the police kind of thing. That's
Yeah, true,
just the reality that we live in.
true. Anyway, Martin, man, I think we can pack it here. I'm really like inspired by
Jeez, it's an hour over already.
hour,
Yeah,
over an
yeah.
hour, my brother. But like your work in the past, has been for me like it's inspirational to see somebody who does sound for that long, 24 years, 25 years, and you still keep good relationships with people. You still help a lot of people with their own events. Like I mean, when it comes to, also I do have to ask you though, is it a myth, or is it really a reality that sound is an expensive thing when it comes to events? I forgot to ask this question. Is sound really expensive, or like, because most of the time when we budget for events, sound and the DJs or artists do take quite a chunk of the event. Why is it that, why, if you could explain to people, so people could know.
Okay. Sound is like any other thing. If you think of cars, you have your Ferraris, your Mercedes Benzes, you have your VWs, and then you have your Chinese brands, your Cherries, and etc. So everybody starts somewhere, and most people start from the bottom up. The thing is just the trick is not to stay at the bottom, is to improve as you go along. Sound in terms of it depends on the type of event, like that event of yours in Mafikeng. What we put up there, if was four JBL subs, four JBL tops,
Mm.
right? That I mean, current day, you pay a half a million for that with the amps.
Mm.
And then CD players are expensive now. CD players are like 50 grand each. The
Mm.
mixers also, there's 150 on two CD players in a mixer, and half a million on the sound system. You still have to have transport to get it there. You have to pay the crew. So, okay, you don't want to do 10 gigs and get your money back. That kind of sometimes doesn't work out. But there is a standard there, percentage of cost that you factor in as a higher, which most of the time you don't get, because if you compare our industry locally to the industry in the US and Europe, the return on investment is much quicker because I think they charge a higher rate. They pay less for the equipment because it's in their own currency, and they charge more for it. Here in South Africa, we have our exchange rate problems. We pay more for equipment and we charge less as a percentage, so it and still the standards by which you must charge, you still have to bring it down further. Say a big event, you're doing an event for 5,000 people. The sound system you put up is generally in the region of, let's say, an adequate sound system would cost in the region of 2 million. How much do you think you should hire that out if you spend 2 million on the event? You can't charge 10. 10% is 200,000. 5% is 100,000. 2.5% is 50,000. You see,
Yeah.
so that's for the operator. And there's maintenance, there's crew, there's transport, related. The problem is a friend of ours in the industry did this very well on a Facebook post once. His name is Mandla, DBSPL. He put up there, you getting 10,000 people at 100 rand is X amount. I think it was like a million. I think they calculated. You paying artists 400,000, and you want to come and pay me 30,000. He had, those weren't the figures, but he worked it out. He worked it out very well, and you can't fault it. Even just from a pure logic point of view, you can't fault what he put there. Yet we find ourselves doing exactly that.
No, for
We
me,
find
it
to
does
be in
make
the
sense.
game.
It does make sense, I mean, like we said it at the beginning of our conversation. Sound on its own, without the sound system, without AV, really, there's no event happening. Like that's it's simply the case. And I think the point that you made with regards to where you guys would buy, the expensive brands, because we are importing all of the JBL stuff, and I mean, it's not only JBL, but a lot of brands we are importing, and you spend a lot of money on that. You've got crew, you've got overheads yourself as a company, and hiring out sound, and that might also come back, some parts of it needing to go into repair. All of that does, you need to be factor that in. um, and I think promoters, especially in the townships, we've gotten to a point where it becomes more difficult to just charge, because it used to be easy for us to go to a Vini gig and pay $100, no questions asked, but at the moment, for us to charge 100 rands at the gate, you need X amount of people on the lineup. And I think the conversation really is never had between sound companies, promoters, club owners, like stakeholders who are all benefiting from the event. It's never had, including the people who come to events, because everybody just wants discounts. I think we can talk for another hour on this, but I did,
No, we can.
yeah.
There's a lot of subjects that we have just touched upon, which could lead into something else. Which just if I could just say this, we are currently, me and some partners are busy. We're going to start a channel where we can discuss anything and everything. And one of the things that we're going to start with is entertaining and entertainment, and the economics thereof, etc. Sort of like what the music conference was touching on, but more in depth, with operators, etc. So we've discussed this, me and you, last
Yeah.
night. So we're going to be, and it's quite exciting. It's like there's not enough time in an hour to go through everything that experience can give. But Mike, in closing, can I just say two things? Anybody listening out there that is musically inclined and all that, that has sound, that wants to grow his company, that wants to have a benchmark, etc. I mean, contact LSG and we can get in touch. And that is one of the things that I want to do, is to impart knowledge and have everybody improve themselves, sort of like a Oprah, help everybody to become a better version of themselves, kind of thing. So I'm open to that, to help people, especially people that have a passion for it. I don't want to help people that just want to make money out of it, because they have nothing else to do. If people are passionate, then I will be able to relate and help them. And then the last thing that I must just say, and this for me is a source of pride, so much pride. I have never advertised, never, and I've survived all these years. For me, that is. That's something you can put on my tombstone, Chana.
No, I think we shouldn't put it on your tombstone, because I do believe that if you have survived all of these years without advertising, we need to get you to start advertising, because I believe once you do, it will only triple, if not quadruple, your returns and your exposure to more people, and just basically get you more business. But we spoke about some imaging and stuff that you and I are gonna work on. But I got you. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and I
Thank
just
you
wish
for inviting me. It's my first foray into this type of forum, and it is a new experience, and just thank you. I enjoyed it, and I hope that some of the responses can be positive, especially in the area of people that want to learn and want to help, or even if they want to just come and intern. Me, I've interned a lot of people. You can ask them out there. We have fun. We're a good crowd, and nobody has hang-ups. Nobody wants to be better than the next. And I believe in sharing information. Everything I know, I can tell you, and without charge.
No, definitely. And I think I will find a way to just work it into the show and to promote it a bit more. Maybe even towards the end of this lockdown. I don't know, whenever that will be, so that we can get
this lockdown is perfect, because we don't have work, so we can meet.
Discuss. And talk, right? You're right. Okay, cool. Anyway, thank you so much, Martin. And to people who are watching, thank you for watching. Please tag somebody in the comment section who might learn or enjoy the conversation, and share the video so more people can see it, more people can learn from it as well. On tomorrow's show, I have Amifaku, singer and songwriter, just to close off the week. And just in closing, thank you so much for watching. and let's remember to stay creative. Peace out.